Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is the second installment of the AE Austech engine explanation, and this one's actually pretty special because you guys are gonna see some projects that I haven't been putting out on YouTube. So, I already have this first project called Platformer loaded up, and I'm gonna start it up, and then after I show you it, I'm gonna tell you what parts of AE it uses. Now, because of Cam Studio, this thing may look kind of laggy or bad quality, but it actually runs pretty smooth. So as you can see, it's basically a basic Mario platformer, and what's going on is basically a level, obviously, and collision, and animated sprites, and regular sprites for the level. So I'm gonna close out of this and show you pretty much how it's made. Well, at least the main parts. So pretty much in this Mario class here, we have, well, let's go to the base entity since that's what Mario is, well, holds. So basically in base entity, there's a bunch of Annie sprites, and basically it's for when Mario's moving left, right, up, down, shoot, which isn't implied yet, jumping left, jumping right, crouching or down, crouching left, crouching right, and standing still to the left and standing still to the right. So basically every time when I press a key, if it's not already set to that sprite, the main animation sprite will equal to one of these sprites. And basically what the animation sprite does is it basically allows multiple sprites into a vector, and then basically in a certain delayed time, which you can set, it'll change to those sprites and it'll just do a constant loop. So let me start the game and show you what's going on now. Let me get rid of this Goomba real quick. Okay. So basically when I press the D key, which would make Mario move right, basically what it's doing is it's animating after, I think it's every 500 milliseconds, it'll change the sprite to that. And basically, now that I'm facing to the right, if I press A, which is my left key, it will check if it's already equal to it. Like when I press A, the program will check to see if is this person already, or is Mario already facing left, and if it's not, it will equal to that, allowing for the main sprite to be the same as walking left. And same thing when jumping, falling, crouching, which I don't have any sprites for that yet, and basically everything. So that's one of the projects that I'm working on. It's not going to be up on my site because there's still a lot to do. In case you can't see, when I'm colliding to this, it makes the screen jiggle a bit, and I'm going to try to make it not do that. And speaking of collision, what this uses is bounding box collision instead of per pixel, because my per pixel class, even though it's pretty fast, it's not the fastest, and at this moment I'm not trying to get like a really fancy game. I'm just trying to, have something that's fun but also fast and optimized. So basically AE bounding box is, well, basically exactly what it is. It creates a box around the sprite, or around one of my AE shapes, and basically it will check if you there's a function called collided or collide. Collided is basically a lot more advanced. Like collided would check if it collided with the left, the right, the top, or the bottom, and then collide, and well, just collide will check if it collided at all. Like if it collided with the left or the right or the top or the bottom, it'll return true. And oh, my bad, I got those two functions mixed up. Collide is advanced and collided is, just to check if it did collide. Basically what happens in the sprite thing is that it takes those bounding box functions and it makes it more advanced, but it's not like you have to use a bunch of functions to do it. It has one function called collide for the sprite class, and basically it uses the advanced collided function in the bounding box, and it basically what it does is it'll check like, hey, if these two sprites are colliding, like if one sprite is colliding to the left of another sprite, it'll set that sprite back. That way it doesn't go through. And then it basically does that for all four sides of the bounding box. Man, that's a lot of collide. Alright, let's move on before I get carried away with this whole collision thing. But I'll probably make another video to explain per pixel bounding box and all that stuff. So, let's see. My recent projects. Now, what I've been working on or what I started 3 days ago, is something called AE instruments, or Austech environment instruments, and this obviously uses sound, which is one of my classes for the AE framework. And basically, in case you can't tell, this is supposed to be a piano. What it does is, instead of using a bunch of sprites, these are all rectangles made from the SFML class called shape, I believe. But basically the AE takes the shape class, and all I have is a rectangle for the AE shape class. It basically has a lot of the functions that Sprite has. It has a function to check if it's been clicked, like right here, or held. And also, if you press a key on your keyboard, like the A key will hit the very left key. And if you notice, when you're clicking this or pressing the button, it'll shade to a darker shaded gray, which is also another function in my class called set color. So you can set it to any RGB color. And what these do is it raises the pitch. So unfortunately you can't hear it. And as for Vista, I'm not exactly sure how to put on my echo or let you guys hear from my speakers. But basically, when you click this, it'll turn to a shade of red, and it'll raise the pitch. You might be able to hear it through my headphones, but while I'm recording, I'm not exactly sure. So let's look into this class and see exactly what it's doing, just like what I did for the other project. Now I'm gonna have to go into this project because that has all these classes in here. So basically it's using the AE sound class, and pretty much it has every single function, well, not every single, but all the main functions in the SFML sound class, but you can it's more easier to use. Like, you don't have to load any buffers or anything. It's all in one function. So basically, the three main functions that are a little bit harder to understand is, believe it or not, the play, stop, and pause button. And the play button was pretty much one of the, I don't want to say hardest, but the trickiest. Because basically, when I was first doing this, I wanted to make it to where, like, I didn't want to have to try to get it to where it plays once. Because when you're making games, it's most likely going to be in a while loop, and before, if you put this play button inside a while loop, it'll play it over and over and over, creating a really loud and annoying sound. So I wanted to make it to where if you put it in a while loop, it'll play it once until the end of the track, and since it's in the while loop, it'll just keep on playing over and over. But also, if it's not in a while loop, you can have something called a set loop to make it to where it'll automatically loop even if it's not in a while function. But what I'm thinking of doing is making it to where if it is in a while loop, it'll replay it only if loop is set to true, but I'm not sure about that. I'm most likely gonna do it though. So let's see how much time we've put into this. Let's see, that's about, I think, 5 minutes, and I'm just gonna wrap this up right now. I'll post another video, most likely part 3 of A Engine, and I hope you guys have a good night, and hope you enjoyed this video.